We want to, over the last 10 days, one thing that certainly have happened has been, Mother's Day has passed, and we want to give a shout out to all the super moms, of course.
Great mothers, we love you out
We
there.
certainly love you and
Continue to keep
appreciate
up the
you.
great work.
Yes, certainly. Now that it's over with, Mother's Day still going on, and mothers is still back being superheroes. So we certainly appreciate you. Jessica, you want to tell the listeners? I mean, you don't have to get in too much detail, but just talk about how our Mother's Day started, and we can talk about how it finished a little bit, just in regards to some of the things that happened. So, how did our Mother's Day start? It was an interesting day for sure.
Man, oh God. So Mother's Day, it started with actually my son just so happened to not be feeling great and had a fever.
Yeah, Success had a fever on Mother's Day, and our thoughts is like, wow, this is the first time he's had a fever. Wow, probably since he's been born. But out of all days, Mother's Day, we were actually going to go see my mom at the time, and realized he was just burning hot when he got out his crib from his nap, and it's like, wow, what is going on? Um,
Yeah, it kind of had like put a little damper on my mood because honestly, like whenever Sincere isn't feeling well, I channel that 100%. And guess what? If he's not feeling well, you probably don't want to be around me because I am not the nicest person. I'm also in a bad mood because I don't like to see my child not feel good. So that's
I
just
think
how I
that's for
am.
all parents, but of course, like the same is with me. When Success doesn't feel, when he's a happy baby, like, so anytime that he may be in pain or he has a fever or something's going on that I can't control necessarily, it makes me a little angry as well. But I feel like we did the best that we could, certainly at that time, making sure that his fever got down at the time,
Yeah.
And let's discuss some of the things that we did, because obviously, as parents, that
So
will go through the same thing.
we did Tylenol and Motrin. We kind of
What, baby Tylenol or infant Tylenol?
yeah, infant Tylenol, children's Motrin. We
Hmm.
alternated them.
Like every 4 to 6 hours to
Yeah.
keep his temperature down. Then we would give him like a cool bath. We would give him a bath. What else was some of the things?
We just made sure he was hydrated. We gave him some water. He already likes to drink his juices and water with lots of ice, so that was a good thing. He did keep fluids down, which was a good thing for me that he just kept drinking his water and juice because that's usually like a issue when kids are sick is the dehydration factor. So luckily he continued to drink his water and juice, so I wasn't super nervous about that. He wasn't eating as much. I was told though that that's a little bit normal when kids like aren't feeling good and they have a fever, they don't really want to eat. So that's why I was like, well, if he's not eating, at least he's still drinking.
Yeah, and I mean that was my main concern. It's like, okay, he's drinking. After he takes his medicine, he's drinking, but he's not eating like we used to seeing him eat. And Success is a big boy. He has a big appetite. He eats well. So for him not to be eating, it wasn't panic time, but it was like you obviously knew something was going on, and not to mention the fever going back and forth. But we're just happy at this time that's all over with. He hasn't had any medicine in about 3 days now. And the one thing I would say, parents, you don't want is for your child to, almost always get almost be addicted to the medicine. As soon as you can get them off of the medicine, then you go ahead and do so. Don't get them used to,
Yeah.
you know,
Anything that's not an antibiotic and not prescribed to a doctor. If it's over the counter and they're telling you use it as needed, please use it as needed.
use it as
I do
needed.
know we had to give him some Benadryl because his throat was red, and of course that makes your child drowsy. That definitely helps them go to sleep.
Yeah.
But you can't use that to your benefit. So
Yeah, you
when I
definitely
saw
don't want to
that,
give them too
yeah,
much, because you don't want to, it's just, when dealing with children is tough because it's like, of course, you want them to feel better, but you want to make sure you're not giving them too much to where they might slip out of here, or you just it's just a tricky subject. And coincidentally, at the same time when Success was having his fever, his grandpa, his pawpaw, was having his fever. So it was like both of them was having the things going on at the same time. And we keep shouting out pawpaw because he's the one that usually is watching Success. Him and Miss Diane is watching Success while we recording this podcast. So that somewhat can explain as to why it's been 10 days since we've recorded. Because as we see it, Pawpaw's currently getting better in the hospital, and Success had a fever, and we just didn't have. It just wasn't the time to record. It was at times where I wanted to record
I had to bring it back to the reality.
Yeah, I wanted to record just to get it out, because it's like I feel like it's a lot of people that's going through stuff, and we trying to be as transparent and authentic as possible. So we don't want to hide things that we going through. However, everything obviously is not meant to be, put on the podcast. But it's like when stuff happen, I just want to talk about it because it make me feel better. And I feel like we moving forward rather than just staying stagnant. And it's stuff that we can't even control. So I was adamant about, look, we need to try and get us a podcast in. But if you all see our settings change a little bit, it's just because
it's becoming a little easier to just do it
for us to transition at home and record at home. It's certainly nothing. We love being here at the E-Complex, and we still, when we have our guests, we want to be here.
I personally don't want to do it at home, but I mean, if we have to, we will. But I love it here.
And again, this whole podcast is about pivoting in times of crisis. So that's just gonna be a slight swivel, a slight way that we continue to keep our listeners up to date and continue to keep things going. Anything else? What happened? So, okay, once we got Success, once we got back from my mom's house, Success went to sleep. How else? What happened with your Mother's Day?
So Vaughn told me to get dressed. At first, I was like, "Can I just wear what I have on?" Like, I was over it. He was like, "No. Go get in the shower, fix your hair, put on some makeup, like get dressed, like as if we're going somewhere." I'm like, okay, because we're still, Georgia's open, but it ain't open to us because we still, on the quarantine.
Yeah, it's not gonna be open for me all summer. So yeah.
He told me to get dressed, so I went ahead and got dressed. So I was getting dressed. Granted, I'm gonna throw this out here because I did send it around to the family and friends so they could laugh. Bond was supposed to be preparing me dinner, which I appreciated. Before we say that it was good, he did have the smoke alarms going off. So at first, I was just like, oh, Lord, what this man about to give me? It's about to be burnt. It's about to be, I don't know. But after I got dressed, he was dressed up. He had a table set up for me, flowers in the middle, candles lit. One of my candles, Comfort Candles.
Shout out to Comfort Candles. Our sponsors. We had a sponsorship for that great, amazing evening. We had Comfort Candles. We had the Candle Farm, Mila Cupcakes. She had the great sweets or dessert. But yeah, so what was on the menu?
So Let's get to it. On the menu was steak with lobster, which was so good. He got me this, it was like a butter, like a pre-made like garlic butter to go with it. Crab legs. He made the Red Lobster biscuits, had mashed potatoes, and we had garlic
the cheesy butter biscuits. We had the mashed potatoes and the string beans.
I ain't gonna lie, y'all, and excuse my language, but that shit was hitting. That shit was good as hell.
Come on, man. That's how you do it for Mother's Day. You want to always make sure, for those that can, you make sure that your mom, your wife, the mother of your child, and your mother is taken care of on Mother's Day. It's really no excuse. I know I remember Mother's Day previously, the year before, I didn't have much at that time.
Got me a candle, y'all.
I got her a candle.
That was it?
Yeah, it was probably a candle and a card or something like that. It was something, slight. But at the time, we was battling different things. And as the podcast go on, we can discuss those.
That's true.
But I wanted to make sure that this year, she was top 5, like, cause she obviously
top
is.
5. I'm top 1.
Well, you tell me. You the one who's supposed to
I'm
tell the
number
people
1.
about your
I'm
Mother's
trying to
Day.
tell you, you
Yeah, I
can't.
mean, you acting
Let me
like
tell
it
y'all what
wasn't
else
what
he
it was
did.
supposed to
I
be.
didn't say that.
But
I
but
never said
but
that.
let me tell them in regards. But yeah, I just wanted to make sure she was eating good. Like STK, that STK had popped up on my Instagram, and we done been to STK, and it's usually about $200, or it can be about $160 for a good meal for that from there. But I said, you know what?
Ambiance is nice too.
Yeah, and that's all good. But I'm like, you know what? Shout out to Gat. He told me a while ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, like, hey, you might want to make something. He said you might want to dress success up or something. And I thought I heard him,
Right.
and I'm like, okay. But what am I gonna make? I don't want to make no shrimp Alfredo, no chicken Alfredo. I'm not trying to grill. You know, I wanted to do something that was outside the normal. So that was my first time ever making steaks. I marinated the steaks overnight. That was my first time ever making lobster.
Did a great job.
A1.
It was really
That was
good.
my first time. Crab legs ain't nothing, like that wasn't hard.
Oh, let me tell you what else they did. So I'll talk about the last gift before the second gift, because then we can get into that real quick. So the last gift was, if you don't know me, I love the strip club.
She just loved being in the club. She loved that whole
nightlife
ambiance. It's not just
but
a strip
I like the
club,
strip
because
club.
you go to clubs and the nightlife.
But I do like the strip club. So what he got me was the money guns that some strip clubs don't allow them, but some do, depending on who you are. But anyway, he got me a money gun so I could, I guess, potentially use somewhere if they let me.
You know, once things are let out.
But he really got it because he said, since I like the strip club, and he wanted to bring it to me because we couldn't go to the strip club, or because I couldn't go to the strip club. So let me just say, I got a bag that night, and it was fun.
Yeah, we might not necessarily in regards to that part, but we gonna I'll probably have something where we show some videos or clips or stuff from that night.